What up, YouTube? It's Mr. Grinch with ugstudioz. I'm going to give you a quick review on the 40-gallon capacity Harbor Fright SandBlast Cabinet. So this is the cabinet itself. It runs for $199. You can get the 20% off coupon. I think I walked out of the door paying about $165 for this. When you do assemble it, it does take some time to assemble. I recommend you have a buddy around. I had a buddy that helped me. It just made things go a lot easier. And silicone everything so the cabinet doesn't leak. So I'll go ahead and start off with the review of the cabinet. Freaking awesome. It's an awesome cabinet. For the price, you can't go wrong. You fit things good inside of it. $165. As I have it as is right now, I've probably dumped about another $100 into it. So about $265, you can have something like this. I'll show you some of the upgrades that I've done and maybe some of the upgrades that you want to do. So let's start off with the light. The first thing that you're going to want to do is it comes with a little fluorescent light. This is actually the switch. It usually sits stock over here. Little fluorescent bulb that it comes with is horrible. Threw it away. Installed this. This turns on the halogen bulb inside. So as you can see now, there's a halogen bulb inside of my cabinet rather than the little fluorescent tube that used to sit right there. And the second upgrade that I did was the seal on the door. The weather stripping on the door isn't that great, so just go down to Home Depot or Lowe's and ask them for weather stripping. It's going to be something that looks like this. This is the white color. I've got black, they've got gray, all different kinds. But I just ran new weather stripping along the door and one strip along the bottom right here. You can have a door that actually absolutely does not leak at all. Then also you'll notice there's holes from the molding when they build the door. There's a little bit of sand that will accumulate when you're blasting, and then when you open the door, sand will drop on the floor. Not a whole lot, but if I just put Gorilla duct tape over the holes, and that way there's no sand that stays in the holes when I open the door, no sand drops out. So the first upgrade that I did was the light. The second upgrade that I did was the weather stripping and the tape. I think probably the third thing that I did was the pickup tube. Copper tubing, just built like the Scat Blast or just the higher quality type pickup tube where two tubes run parallel down. Drilled a 1/4-inch hole, and then one of them's plugged up. I believe it's this one, yeah, the one that's not second abrasive. So those two will just run down in through this hole and will run parallel into your abrasive, and it does give you a constant flow it gives you really good flow of media. I mean, the gun never jams up. I used the Harbor Fright gun for a while, and then I ended up buying the Scat Blast gun. The Scat Blast gun is awesome. I got the medium sized. You're gonna want a compressor that is gonna run at least 10 CFM at 90 psi. I usually run this cabinet anywhere between 80 to 60, but you want something that's gonna run to be able to push this gun. So if you're blasting things like rims and stuff, that like a couple of rims and things that I've done, you want something that's going to be able to keep up with. If you're doing smaller stuff, you don't necessarily need something that's running that high CFM, just going to constantly be running the compressor. But if you can get something that's running, you know, ideally you want something that's going to run 90, like 15 PSI at 90, maybe like a 60-gallon 2-stage or something big like that. But for a while I ran this cabinet off a 30-gallon, and it did fine. And then also this tube, I upgraded this tube. The tube that the Harbor Fright tube that it came with was junk. I just went down to Lowe's. It was 89 cents a foot. I got 3 feet for under $3. Put a new hose because the Harbor Fright hose actually after 3rd or 4th use started bubbling up. It hadn't popped, but it looked like it was about to pop. So I just upgraded a new hose, stuck that right there. So I think the first thing that I did was the light. Second thing that I did was a door. Third thing was the pickup tube. Got the new gun, new hose. Oh, the fourth thing is there's usually something that sits underneath here, and then this crate sits on top of. I actually had to disassemble. I removed that whole piece. It's actually this piece right here. It sits in there. There's usually pieces, but I removed all those pieces and I used them to what is it? Just to support the door for when I put the hinges on the door. Just, you don't even need that piece. Don't use it when you build it. Don't put it in your cabinet. And then you can cut this piece down, and as you can see, you can actually drop that about 3 to 4 more inches down into your cabinet, which gives your cabinet so much more space. So that was probably the 4th upgrade that I did. It was the lights, the weather stripping, the pickup tube, the gun, and then I removed that crate. I cut this down and dropped it. And then the 3rd or 4th upgrade that I eventually ended up doing was putting the hinges on the door. So you can, as you can see, it can actually open from the front now. Also too, I went down to AutoZone and got the car LEDs, and I run them into the same light switch that the fluorescent bulb usually comes into. It plugs in right here and goes into the back. It's here. So I do have the option of turning off the LEDs, so I have a halogen bulb and 2 LED light bars. So as you can see, that's what it looks like when I'm blasting inside of the cabinet. It's got a really good bright light. Also too, I do have the Cyclone Dust FVD. The Cyclone Dust FVD is an awesome product. It's going to pick up a bunch of nasty, dirty, just soot inside of that bucket that you just throw away. Soot that you don't want going into your vacuum. It's going to ruin your filters and make your filters go bad really quickly. One of the things that I did is I have it sitting on a smaller bucket. As you can see, I don't have the 5-gallon bucket that some people use because I'm not vacuuming up like sawdust or anything. Cyclone Dust FVD can be a little top heavy. I just put a little 5-pound circular weight down inside of the bucket. That way it just holds it down a little bit better. And this switch will actually is connected to the outlets, so if I have the shop vac on and I flip the switch, the shop vac actually plugs in. It's going to turn on all the lights and the shop vac. But I'll turn the shop vac back off. And then also too, something that I did was I ran a little 90-degree elbow so the hose runs backwards rather than come straight out. Because the problem that I was having is why I decided to do the latch that opens is I just didn't like all the space that I needed to open the door. So with that, now I have a cabinet that can be opened from the side, will open from the top. Also too, what's kind of cool, what I really like about the Harbor Freight cabinets is they're like the only cabinets that have this shelf. TP Tools, Eastwood, and a couple of other cabinets that I've seen don't have this shelf right here. I really like the shelf. It's nice because as you can see, it put gloves and stuff, sits on top of there. So it's actually pretty cool. Make sure you use a lot of silicone when you put it together so it won't leak. And initially I had plans on putting some latches on the door, you know, because I didn't want it to leak, but it's pretty cool is when I built this with the hinges, I just put two steel hinges, stainless steel hinges, and then I've got one piece of steel flat bar that I ran along the top. And the glass alone with the flat bar is enough weight, believe it or not, to just seal it up. It doesn't even need latches. It's airtight. I'll turn on the shop vac. I stick my hand over the whole thing will start to implode. The gloves get sucked in, so I know that it's airtight. Also, too, when you get this cabinet, it comes with a 1/4-inch thick piece of glass, and then there's a piece of plexiglass underneath. And there's usually plastic strips that you put underneath. And those strips you'll go through them real quick. I mean, like literally, if you sit there and blast, you can go through 3 or 4 in a day, no problem. So what I did is I took out the plexiglass. Here it is. I think it's 3/16 thick. I just keep it for reference when I go down to Lowe's, and for under $7, so they'll cut you a piece of glass exactly the same size as this. So when you go down, just have them cut you 3 or 4 pieces of glass. And instead of the plexiglass, where you're going to need to keep putting sheets, you're going to have your 1/4-inch thick piece of glass, and then I have an actual piece of glass underneath. So it's just 2 pieces of glass now. You can still use some type of protectant. I usually get the static cling Mylar, so I don't have anything adhesive that sticks to it. I don't have anything on there right now. If you're using glass bead though, you really don't need to use anything, but since I'm using aluminum oxide, it will tear up the glass. It takes about a week though. It'll take about a week to tear up the glass, and that's with doing a lot of blasting. So that's kind of cool too. Instead of the plexiglass, I've got an actual sheet of glass underneath. And I think that's pretty much it. I don't know what else I did. I think I pretty much have gone over everything. The hinge on the door now, the 90-degree angle on the side, the Cyclone Dust Deputy. Build yourself one of these little boxes. They're easy to build. If you don't know how to do it, go on YouTube or online and you can learn how to do it. Make sure you have like some type of little multimeter or something. You can build one of those, no problem. I got wing nuts on these. These nuts are fastened down inside, so I just unscrew the wing nuts, so it's really easy for me to replace that glass on the inside when I do need to replace it. The only thing that I think I'm gonna do now is, I'm 6'3", so as you can see, I'm standing here. This is me putting my hands inside of the holes. I gotta kind of crouch down to get into the cabinet. I might get some like 2x2 wood and just lift it up maybe 5 or 6 inches, maybe with some swivel casters underneath. But that's pretty much it. As it is, it's an amazing cabinet, and like I said, I've only put maybe about another $100 into it as it is said and done. I was getting shocked a little bit sometimes, so all I did, I don't even know if this works. I don't think I've gotten shocked. I can't remember the last time I got shocked because of static. But I just ran a washer with the ground wire, and it just runs up to a wire with the copper stranding is wrapped around one of the wires that comes out the back, and that just runs to the bottom of the ground. And I also have that same thing on the bucket of the Dust Deputy, just washers that hit the ground. So you just have some type of grounding, so all that static is running into the ground. So it's a pretty cool cabinet. I've seen cabinets like this that sell for $400 or $500 plus, and that don't even have the shelving. And then usually those ones are just top openings. So now what's cool is have a cabinet that opens from the top, opens from the side, has a tray, and it's got the halogen bulb, it's got LED light bars, and drops down. It's got a bunch of space. Harbor Freight. And I think now everything is said and done, maybe $265, $275 has been invested. As long as you're willing to sit down and do a little bit of work, you can come out with a really nice cabinet. If you guys have any questions or anything on how I did any of these mods or what I used, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. But you know, I know a lot of people bash on this Harbor Freight and a lot of their tools in the cabinets, but for the price, this cabinet is awesome. It just suited me well. It doesn't leak. I use it to blast rims. You know, I build microphones. I do custom made microphones. That's what I do out of the garage. And I do powder coating. I'll do custom colors for people and stuff like that. I've actually got a little powder coating system right there. And it's been able to flawlessly perform all the jobs, everything that I've needed. So yeah, go ahead. If you're thinking about buying this, do it. And just slowly start to invest into things from the ground up. I'd say number one, start with the light, and number two, start with the weather stripping in the door. And then after that, you can go and do everything, whatever you want to do from there. But that's the two main things, is the light and the stripping, the sealing on the door. Once again, man, this is Mr. Grinch with ugstudioz, just coming to you with another review of a Harbor Fright SandBlast Cabinet that I have sitting in my garage. It's an awesome product for the price. You can't go wrong. I guess that's pretty much it. All right, you guys, later.